Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special discussion on The Last of Us, the HBO original. Uh, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. This is the Koalition Gaming channel. We have plenty of content that's going to be coming to this channel, so definitely stay tuned. But for tonight's special discussion, I have a couple of special guests with me. So we have, first and foremost, senior editor over at the Koalition, Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Let's do this. Last of Us for life. I took a shower this month. I feel fresh.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. We're also joined by, I want to say, Throwdown co-host, Mr. Carlos Romero. How's it going, Carlos?
Yo, what's going on? Ready for talk with Last of Us, man. It's been a while.
Yes.
Been a while.
And we have the OG himself, Mr. Throwdown, our very good friend, Mr. Tony Polanco. How's it going, Tony?
It's going good, man. I'm hanging out with the fellas right now, ready to talk about this game, ready to say some controversial things, man. So,
Yo, man, you ready to talk about this game?
I'm ready, man.
But there's one thing that's not controversial, just so people know off the bat. We're all fans of the game, right? Yes. We're all fans of the game. I don't think we hate the part two. We can. That's controversial, but part one, that was good.
I like the first game. Yeah, I'll say that. But real quick though, I want to thank you guys for having me on. I'm not sure if I'll be a regular on this, but I did see this episode. I'm like, I got some things to say that I didn't want to say on Twitter because the Last of Us fans are the worst. They really are. So I like the game. I don't like the fans. I'll be upfront about that. Very, very toxic people, keeping it real. There's already controversy. We're like a minute in. I'm already saying some shit.
Oh,
but listen, yeah, we'll get into that, man. We'll get into that.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And yeah, there is going to be some controversy on this show because I think we all have a couple of different opinions on some certain things that were done in the show. So, but to kick things off, I want to start and I'm going to go around the room and let you guys give me your takeaways from the episode. Maybe if you have 2 or 3 takeaways that you want to talk about regarding the episode and whether you have some positive or some negative. So who wants to go first? Who wants to nominate themselves to go first?
Yeah, I'll just go first. I'll get mine out the way because I was talking about it before. There's a casting. Okay. That actress that's playing Ellie is creepy. She doesn't look like Ellie, and I get it. You don't always have to match them up, but man, something about her face when she first pops up on the scene when she's walking close to the gate, I'm like, oh, look at this little zombie girl. I did not even put 2 and 2 together from when I saw her with the posters or anything. I just thought it was like some zombie little kid that was coming. They were going to probably buck her in the head. We're going to have that like Walking Dead episode 1 moment type of thing. No, this is her, and she's creepy. So that was a takeaway for me. I was like, damn, really, seriously, I don't know if I can see her as Ellie. If you're new to all of this, then it's whatever. It's a TV show, right? You're like, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit. Little creepy girl, whatever. But as I played the first game, the second game. I'm just my brain is just comparing them, and it's like Ellie, creepy girl, Ellie, creepy girl. It's like imposter. It's almost as if like you go to the supermarket and you get your regular cornflakes or whatever, and then there's a knockoff brand. Yeah, it's cheaper, but it's different. There's more to it. And that's the same thing. It's like it's just too much. And then to find out she's English. She's British. All right. We got a lot of that going on in Hollywood, but it bothers me because it's a little girl. Come on now, from Texas. You can't, whatever. That's it. But the other part, it's all right. I enjoyed just the presentation, the way they put it together. They really were true to that opening scene, which we all talked about. I think we all agree that opening scene of the Last of Us game is like one of the best in any game. Like the first 10, 20 minutes of gameplay, very impactful, very emotional. It pulls you in, the whole set. So all the daughter, and again, spoiler if people watching this, I hope you watch.
We are discussing spoilers on this
show. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, all right, well, that was very impactful. There were some parts that we'll probably talk about that were not in the game, like the doctors talking and all that in the opening. But that scene with Joel running with the daughter, and that's when the way they captured also with the brother, and they were in the car doing the getaway and the camera moving. That's like scene for scene from the game.
Yeah, that looked like it looked really, really true to what they told.
Yeah. So they did a great job, and I'm glad. I'm glad that they decided to. I mean, you got to have some creative flow with the directors if they have to put their own little take on it. But they, so far from this first episode, they didn't stray too far, and I appreciate that. So,
yeah. Go ahead, Carlos. You go next. I'll go last.
I'll start by saying there's a couple of things that I was looking to with this show that I feel like a lot of us felt like they're kind of key points, whether we thought the show was good or not. Number one is the characters and the acting and the actors that were hired to represent all the characters that we know. Number two is how faithful the adaptation is, because we know a lot of video game adaptations are not actual adaptations. They just get the characters and put them in their own crazy and cookie stories and stuff. And
Resident Evil, those movies, like what the hell?
They just completely deviate from what makes the story of the actual games good. And so I was glad that they like Adam said, a lot of the things that happened in this episode, a lot of them looked like they were shot for shot the exact same scenes. So I appreciated that from this episode at least. And number three is just how the world is. When you're playing a video game, you're immersed into a world where things feel tense, especially in a zombie apocalypse type story. And I felt like this one did a pretty good job. I still feel like we still need to see more episodes to see that more grit, that that higher tensions and stuff. So we still have yet to see that from a full-fledged scale. But overall, I'm satisfied with the episode. I felt like it was pretty well done. Pedro Pascal, man, he's on a roll. The dude's doing the Mandalorian. He's doing this
to show his face. Look at that. He's so
to show
pretty.
his face.
Got the mustache going on. It's like,
yeah, man. So
I'm sure I could smell the Paco Rabanne. You know what I mean? Like I was watching, like I could smell it coming off of him.
Overall, I felt like this was a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed it, and looking forward to seeing what episode 2 has in store.
Yeah. Quick thoughts, and I'm going to separate them between like objective and then my personal take, right? Mm-hmm. Like objectively, yeah, this is a very strong video game adaptation, right? Very close to the source material. And Carlos, I'm glad you brought that point up. It's like, yes, this isn't a show that just is a random show with the Last of Us sticker on it. This is the Last of Us show. Like I'm watching this thing, like the production value is fucking crazy, right? You could tell this HBO, like it looks like the game, like, but I guess that, that's what Boston's supposed to look like, all fucked up. So maybe that's why, but it's like, wow, this looks like the game. I'm getting flashbacks of the game and everything. Right. So, and yeah, I thought the acting was solid. Story was good. Everything, like, again, production values, all that stuff was good. But at the same time, and this is the personal stuff, I am very tired of these zombie stories. There's a reason I stopped watching Walking Dead, because it's the same thing. Like, yeah, the zombies may be different in this, but it's the same thing at the end of the day. There's zombies in the world and people have to do fucked up things to survive. It's the same deal, right? And this is also why I only played the first game 2 times. I played once in the original and then on PS4 remaster. It's too fucking depressing. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go through a whole season of this, man. Like, one game is already kind of enough, like, or 2 games, if you if you want to count that. But so I don't know if I'll be coming back, but I will say it is very well done. And Rich, I guess once you get your take in, we need to talk that opening scene, because I have a different take than the rest of you guys on it.
But Rich, also, before you pass off, he brings up another point: is the world ready for something like this, especially with what we just went through with the pandemic and all that?
The first scene was
but The Walking Dead's been happening this entire time.
And then the ratings have been shit. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, they've been shit because the show
have not watched. There you go. So the question, but that's the thing. This has to bring casual viewers. It can't just bring fans of the game. This is HBO's expecting to get that interest of people that are into fantasy and all the other things that they produce. Are people ready to jump into, whether it's a zombie or still that it's a zombie show, not based off like The Walking Dead, where it's just like the dead's come back, we don't know why. This is saying there's from a fungus that's spreading like a virus and it's infecting people. Is it too close to home too soon?
No, because that's the plot of the game. So
no, I know the game, but we're saying for TV, for casual viewers, I forget. Hey, what's on HBO? And they flip this on. What is this shit? Oh, another zombie infection. I live this shit. I gotta go. Boop.
I don't think there's any zombie fatigue from the masses. I know Tony, like personally, he does have zombie fatigue. But I feel like, you mentioned The Walking Dead, and when Tony also answered to that, the reason why The Walking Dead's ratings fell off is because the show fell off.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the subject matter.
But my
I'm glad you bring this up. I agree with Carlos. There's no zombie fatigue with audiences, with normies. They're still fine with it,
But I'm not talking. But it's not the zombies that I'm thinking about. It's just the whole virus, just the whole idea of infection spreading and going viral and doing that whole thing.
But that's been a zombie trope forever.
That's been a zombie trope, but we've seen, all right, Station 11. I don't know if you've seen that. That was amazing. That came out and that was the same issue. They had to shelf it for a year because it was just too much. And it's very sad and depressing. And
they released Resident Evil 3 during the pandemic, and that starts with an outbreak of a virus.
But that's comical. This is serious.
That wasn't comical. It's
that was serious. Game. All of them. No. The show that came out recently. Come on now, that was a joke. We know that big monsters flying around and stuff.
I honestly think this show's going to blow up. I think it's going to be huge because people love zombies, man. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. So
sorry, Rich. I need to interject. Quick.
Yeah.
My apologies. I do want to mention, just for if we're trying to doubt what the audience thinks, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, whether it's critics or audience, it's 96+% across the board. This show is getting ridiculous love from everyone so far.
Yeah, no doubt. The question is how many are watching. The critics can love it. People can love it. We've seen so many shows have that, and then they just don't watch. The critics love it, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry.
Let me just say this to you, Carlos. I think that's a very good point, but I also want to say that I heard that Velma show already got greenlit for a second season.
What?
So yes,
that trash.
That show has gotten horrible reviews.
And the reason why it's doing it is because it's meme to death now. So people are just hate watching it.
Wow.
And it's crazy.
So we'll see. Well, let me start by saying, as y'all already said, there was some excellent takeaways, by the way. But as y'all already said, we've all played the game. The original Last of Us, amazing game. The Last of Us 2. Awesome gameplay, but I don't know about the story. Here's the point that I'm going to say. The game is very exhausting. As Tony mentioned, it is depressing, but it is also very exhausting. And another game that just came out recently that also was very exhausting is a game by the name of the Callisto Protocol, a game that Adam absolutely despises.
Yeah, I had to review it too, Rich, and that was brutal, man. That was not fun.
Yes, absolutely. But the point that I'm saying is that, yes, it's very exhausting. So for that reason, I understand what you say, Tony, where you say you may not stick around for the entirety of the show. I will say, however, for the first episode, I thought they did a pretty good job. I do agree with the production values. I do agree for the most part, they did a good job with how it all came together. They had a particular scene when they were inside the car where you see what's happening outside with the hordes of people and all that other stuff. That shot felt like that was taken directly from the game. Yeah. And I thought that was fantastic. So I enjoyed that stuff. They had certain stuff in there. And again, we'll get into other stuff they had in there that was different in the game versus the TV show. But if there's one criticism that I do have, two actually. First and foremost, I've seen many people online saying that this is the best video game adaptation of all time.
Are you willing to name names?
Well, that's a good question. We have our listen. We have our very good friend, Hip Hop Gamer. We have a lot of people out there that have said it. And listen, I respect their opinion, but I have to say, this is only one episode, man. We need to see the rest of the season before we start throwing around stuff like that, because we need to see how much they've changed. Neil Druckmann has already said that this show is going to have some changes in it that is totally different from the game. We saw some of that in this episode. So I want to see what those changes are, if they work. And they've also said that the entire first season is going to be the first game, which means the second season, so people might be a little divisive by the time they get to that.
And the DLC, because they already talked.
Oh yeah, the DLC's in this too. Yeah, we saw glimpses of that already. Yeah. That's gonna. Yeah, I mean, this is something. You know what? I got a thought, but I'll save it for the end of the episode.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we'll see about that. But here's my other criticism. Okay, and I know Adam made a very good point earlier where Bella Ramsey is the actress that plays Ellie. Okay, I understand Adam's point, and I agree with that. My complaint, however, is the casting of Tommy. Okay, let me just say this. I know when they made the casting, they made someone who would be believable as a brother of Pedro Pascal. So I respectfully understand that. But that Tommy character, the way the character looks in the game, there are a ton of people in Hollywood that look exactly like that guy. That's why I was like, I don't know. It's going to take a little bit of time for me to get used to that casting. I'm not saying the guy isn't a bad actor because I'm familiar with a lot of stuff that he's been in. I'm just saying this guy is blonde that's in the game, but now and he's also a different ethnicity as well. So it's a little different for me to get used to that. I understand why they did it though, again, because Pedro Pascal, they have to have someone that you can look at and say, yeah, that's possibly his brother. So I get that. But the casting, the choices, I need to be sold a little bit more on some of that stuff. And as Adam said earlier, Ellie and Joel, when you play the game and you see these people who've played them, you know, Ashley Johnson and Travis Baker, they did a phenomenal job. So it takes, Troy Baker. Yeah, sorry about that.
Travis Baker's the drummer.
Don't come after me. Sony, don't come after me.
Travis Barker.
I had to correct that real quick because these ponies will come after you, man.
Yes, thank you for the correction. But they did such a phenomenal job with the game. I think it's going to take used to me separating those characters. Pedro looks a little bit like Joel, but I don't know, man. It takes a little bit getting used to. But again, they did an excellent job with the material. But at the same time, I want to see what they bring to it that makes it unique in their own, because I haven't seen that yet. We've only seen one episode. There's a lot to expand upon. I will, however, say the casting of Marlene, that's perfect.
Yeah,
that actress,
it's literally her.
That's perfect.
Yes. Exactly.
Same actors. Yeah. No, it's the same actor. It's the same actor.
Oh, it's the same actor?
Yeah. It's the same. Yeah, that was something we kind of got messed up. Olivia Torv was not Tess in the first game.
Okay, because I thought we were talking about Tess.
The Firefly one, though.
Yeah, homegirl from 24, the redheaded girl, she's Tess. But Marlene is the same actress. The same voice actress is the same actress.
That makes sense.
Well, that's perfect. That's great. So look forward to seeing what comes next then. Yeah.
Yo, can we talk about, let's just get into it, man. We got to talk about that opening scene, man. Because, again, some of you guys
opening, the doctor stuff?
No, that was cool. And I'm talking about the opening of this compared to the game, right? Before this show aired, right? I think it was one of the showrunners said that the show's going to hit harder because it's real people and not pixels, right? That's what he said. I found that statement very stupid. And then when I saw this, right, the show, I'm like, oh wow, the video game did it 50 million times better. Like the scene, specifically spoilers here, right? The scene where Joel's daughter died. I felt nothing during that. I'm like, it was
really
nothing. It was not like nothing.
Yeah.
When I replayed that same scene again in the video game, right? Like a couple years later, I'm like, fuck, this is heavy. So I find that interesting how this guy was talking about how the show's gonna be more impactful because it's a real show. I'm like, no, the video game had way more fucking emotional impact. It really did. The show, it didn't really do it for me. And I obviously I will throw the caveat, maybe it's because I was expecting it, but again, I was also expecting it again when I did my replay of the game, and it still hit hard. You know,
But
so
I think that was a message to the people that didn't play the game. I think that's what it is. It's because remember, there's a large majority of people that just don't play the game. I saw a bunch of reviewers out there like, "Hey, I haven't played the source material. I'm just going based off of what I see, so don't come at me." And I'm thinking that comment with the pixels, because I remember when I saw, I'm like, he's not talking to us, people that play. He's talking to those who are like, I'm not watching a video game show. You know,
yeah. So that's how. And then also the other thing is, and this is something you kind of learn when you're trying to do storytelling and stuff. Brevity is always is kind of better. If you pack more into a smaller frame than drag it out, that's going to have more impact, right? That entire scene, with Joel's life beforehand, it lasted so long that it felt like it lacked the impact for me. In the game, it was nice and short and impactful. I'm like, so this thing just dragged and dragged and dragged and dragged. And I'm like, yes, I agree with you. Like the scene where they're in the car getting away, that was fucking dope. The airplane blasting and shit. And I understand what they were trying to do. They wanted you to feel something, when the daughter finally died. But I said, again, that scene did nothing for me. So I'm like, you dragged it out just for myself for no reason, because I don't care about her the way I did for the pixels in the video game. So, what a fucking dumbass comment. I till this day I can't stand that shit. It's not fucking though. He's not talking let me stop that. What a dumbass fucking stupid comment that was.
Well, I just want to make a comment and say, sorry, there was some technical difficulties on my end. I'm good now. I actually agree with your comment, Tony, because, and I think I have a reason to understanding as to why it didn't have the same impact in the game. The danger was literally brought to Sarah's door. In this TV show, she literally went outside. You hear all this stuff going on outside, and it was a very specific report said, stay indoors. The character decides to go outside and go next door to where the older.
Well, she was a dog. Remember that's why, because she saw the dog banging on the door on the window there, and then she opened it up, and then she decided to go next door. Yeah.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, it was the dog. Then she said, oh, well, let me try to bring the dog back to their owner. And then she comes in there and then she sees, oh, here comes the runners coming after her. Whereas in the game, she was at home, obviously looking for her father. That's the same. But then her father comes running in. You see that there's a person that tries to come into the house and Joel has to kill him. So that was a little bit more impactful for me, because she wasn't going outside looking for trouble. In this case, you see, oh, there's a dog, or I'm a good Samaritan, so let me return the dog to the owner, even though the report said you need to stay indoors. So I kind of don't feel sorry for what ends up happening eventually to her.
Which is weird, because she was paying attention to the news the entire time. Remember, she was always talking to people, but then it looked like she wasn't even listening when that happened.
Yes.
Because she opened up the door and you hear it in the background. Oh, stay indoors, this and that. Oh, how's everything going? She's talking to the dog. Like she's not even paying attention.
So. Yes, I agree. Yeah. No, Carlos, you were gonna say something, Carlos, right?
Yeah. First off, I do agree with Tony's comment about that one individual mentioning the pixels fiasco. That's pretty stupid. I agree with that. Number two, it's hard to compare and say which one's more impactful, because I experienced this story over 10 years ago now, or close to 10 years ago now, and for the first time. So when I'm watching this, I already know what to expect. I'm just saying, okay, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? So my mind frame is just programmed to not feel any emotions other than to expect the inevitable. So I can't really. It's not fair for the TV show, in my opinion, to compare my experience of watching one scene versus the other. I will mention this: the reason why the video game takes quicker to get to that scene and doesn't have to do the other stuff is because cutscenes are shorter in nature in video games than they are.
Unless it's a Kojima game.
Unless it's a Kojima game, exactly. So when The Last of Us got created, they had to have their specific scenes set because everything is mixed in with the video game and a video game experience. And with this one, with a TV show, it's all cutscenes in a way. So I do understand that. I didn't have that much of an issue with it. But as long as it's not bad, and as long as it gets the point across of what the original game did, it's fine with me. Whether it did it better or worse, I'm biased towards the game because that's I experienced that with actual shock of the scene.
It definitely achieves the goal, which is to pull at the heartstrings, particularly toward parents. And as no matter, I played the game a bunch, and I've seen it all. But when you see this, and then you it's as a parent myself, and then I talk to other parents that watch the show, and you automatically put yourself in that father's position. And it's like, man, if this was my child, how would I react? You don't want to do it, you just do it. Or in that scene where there's another family, and the brother's like, "Oh, let's stop," and he's like, "No, we gotta let him go." And you see this guy running with his kid. It's like that's impactful. That's an impactful scene to show. And for any casual viewer, anybody's just watching, if they have kids and stuff, they can relate and see that. I'm like, holy shit! It's like, and this is a game, you know what I mean? Because still, for people that are not gamers, for most of them, they just think it's Call of Duty, Madden, all that stuff. They don't know that there are these type of games that are out there that have a very heavy story, a very mature story. It's wrapped with zombies and monsters stuff like that, but the real story is like The Road. If anyone's ever seen that movie,
well, that's what this game was like.
Yeah, exactly. It was based off of that.
I should say.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Just instead of the son is the daughter, that type of deal, and they're trying to get from point A, point B. So it's going to work on that level, and it hit the mark. It didn't seem comical. It didn't seem like in disbelief. I was like, care for the loved ones, and if you have another family trying to come, then think about it. The one thing that did bother me though, I don't know, I thought maybe they would fix this up a little bit, is once at the beginning when when Joel grabs Ellie, he's like, "Come on, we gotta go." It's like, all your stuff is in the house. Grab something. I don't know. I figured they'd spend more time gathering stuff because they're just on the run and have no plans of where they're going. It's not like, oh, we're going to a cabin that we have up, whatever. They didn't know where they were going. I don't know. I would have cut the part with the girl going next door and all that stuff, kept to the original from the game where Joel shows up, but then maybe he runs upstairs or he tells her, "Go and grab a bag," and just, I don't know. That's filler for me, but I just feel like it would have made more sense to grab some stuff, then get in the car, then go. I don't know. But
yeah, I agree. So let me make this quick point, and then we'll get to a couple of the other things that we noticed that were different. I will say, to go back to the scene where Sarah does get shot, and then you saw at the very end of the episode when they are, trying to progress further, they get stopped by that officer, and you see that Joel has that flashback to what happened with his own daughter. I think that right there obviously will show you what his intent was, that in that moment he felt as though Ellie was his daughter. So I will say, I hope that we do not see too many flashbacks, but I think we are going to see flashbacks throughout the season of moments he had with his daughter when he's doing something with Ellie to really further hit the point home that yes, he looks at this person as his daughter. But I thought that was very well done to just show that and tell you, and then you saw what he did when he basically beat the guy down at the very end of the episode. I mean, so I kind of feel like
in the game he called her Sarah a few times. They didn't do a flashback, but he called her Sarah a few times. I recall
But see, I think I agree, but I think they are going to have more flashbacks to really emphasize that. I wish that they wouldn't, because I feel like you did it in this episode. You told us this, so I don't think you need to really show too many of the flashbacks. But
she's another British little girl. That's the other thing. Yeah. Both of them. Come on now.
Absolutely. Yes.
Adam hates British actors.
I don't hate
it, and Rich hates Hispanic ones apparently.
You see, there you go.
No.
I just don't find the need for it.
Listen, let me just say right now, I'm a fan of Gabriel Luna. All right, I'm a fan of him. I'm definitely a fan of Pedro Pascal.
I'm friends with him on MySpace. I get it.
Oh, see, so you're good. See, no, I'm a fan of everybody on the show. I just have to buy into the belief that this is supposed to be Joel and Ellie and Tommy. I have to. With other characters, I just know, like we said earlier, Marlene, and now that I know that's the same actress, yes, that's excellent. So I'm very curious to see how other people who they introduce in this show, how they portray those characters. We'll find out, obviously. But let's get into some of the differences with this show versus the game. And I want to start this off because we didn't really talk about this. We talked about it briefly. The first opening scene of when the show started, and it goes to 1968, where you see those doctors talking on stage, and the doctor has the line to say, "Oh, well, if there is ever a fungus infection type of thing, we probably won't win." I thought that was excellent. Because it sets up to let you know this is not going to be a typical story where the good guys win at the end. So I thought that was an excellent job to add that in there, even though none of that happened in the actual game.
Well, that definitely cuts people out there thinking that this is just another Walking Dead type of show, because Walking Dead didn't have that. But it did trigger I Am Legend. Because remember, I Am Legend, they did that at the beginning too, but it was like the news report talking about, oh, we got this cure for cancer. Yeah, everyone's going to take it. It's going to be great. Blah, blah, blah. And then, it fast forwards and you see the world went to, kaput and all that stuff. But yeah, I think that was a good addition to it. I like that part right there. That was good.
Absolutely. One other thing too that I do want to add, obviously with Sarah, they spent a lot more time showing you what she was doing on the day that leading up to when she would eventually, meet her end, visiting the people at the old home. And then they had that shot, and I'm pretty sure you guys, we all saw the shot where she's in the home. In the background, you see that there's an old woman, and then she starts seizing up, or, you see some type of facial expression. That was the hinting that something was coming. I don't know who decided to add that in there, but I thought that was very interesting.
And it wasn't in focus. That was cool too, because
the dog gave
it was two things. The dog was looking at her funny too. Yeah. So you already kind of knew what was going on. That was pretty well done. But yeah. Like I said, I did feel that intro dragged on too long, but that scene was good though, with the old lady and shit. That was pretty.
Do we know if all the episodes are going to be this long? Or
I think it may just be this one.
Just this one.
Yeah, I think it's just this one.
I do want to mention something, and I don't know if this is the best place to mention it, but I'll do it anyways.
Oh.
I feel like, and maybe this is just my opinion, and because Tony mentioned he thought it ran too long. Just the intro. The rest of the episode was fine. Just the intro. But again, I'm comparing that to the game where like 10 minutes and we're good. This one's like 40 minutes. I'm like, bro, we did the same thing in 10 minutes and it was better. Do that.
The parts with the cookies and stuff wasn't necessary.
But no, the 85 the 85 minute long runtime was fine. I didn't feel like, with the exception of the end, and again, the only reason I feel the intro was dragging is because the game was so short. But as a whole, I thought it was fine. I don't mind that.
I felt like it would have been, for me, it would have been better if the episode ended with Sarah's death. I felt like that would have been a better way to end the show.
Wait, would you be okay having an hour of that?
No, no. Yeah. Like make it like 45 to 50 minutes or something like that. Because
back it up.
That happened like a half hour.
Again, I'm being. So you would be okay if the entire first episode was nothing but the flashback?
Yes.
No.
Because I felt like
I would have given the show a big thumbs down right there and then.
I felt
they didn't bring up the mom at all, too. I was surprised by that. I thought they would at least bring that part up during the flashback stuff. Like, we didn't remember the watch.
Go ahead, man.
I just felt like this episode, even though overall I think it's still good, I just felt like there was too much of a kind of, it's like, okay, Ellie, we start with Joel and Sarah and their story, and Sarah dies 20 years into the future now. And I'm like, oh man, like you're not gonna let us ponder with a major death scene in the first, the first big moment of the show or the video game. So, doing that time jump for me felt kind of too drastic. That would have been better served for me in the next episode, like if it led up to the next episode.
Did that bother you in the game?
Well, the game, it took like, I started the game, I played it, I went to take a piss break for 10 minutes and went to get water and stuff. So it took an hour. That was an hour experience for me.
But right at the end, it's the same, that shot, and then they fast forward the time and he was in the camp in Boston. How do you end up Texas to Boston? I don't know.
But the story, and this is where Tony and I differ a lot when it comes to video games. The story, most of the times for me, is a vehicle to get back to the gameplay. There are some stories that supersede that, for like God of War, Ragnarok, for example, for me, where the story is the main driving force to the video game. But for me, when I'm playing the game, I'm like, all right, let's move on to the story so I can get on to the, to shoot some stuff.
It would have been funny if this was on Netflix and then we would have had one of those like, press up on the D-pad left to right to have Pascal move left or right. Whoa. Interactive experience.
You have the choice for Joel to interact any way with that when he's being pointed at with that soldier, and it's like either way you choose, you still die.
Child at soldier. To knock him out with Ellie. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a nitpick. I just felt like there was 2 episodes in one.
I'm pretty much with 80 minutes. I think that's what it was.
But again, I don't think you would have felt that way if that damn intro was shorter. I'll keep harping. I can't let that go. It bothered me that it just dragged on for like 35 minutes. I'm like, the game did it shorter. Do that. Like, let's get this shit out of the way. Let's get to the good stuff.
I do agree, because I feel as though they want to try to make you feel really 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 bad about what happened to Joel's daughter Sarah.
It didn't work, man. I was there like,
well, for you, whatever. It worked. You've been there.
Yeah, but again, when I saw that same scene again in the game, I could probably watch this shit right now, be like, damn, that's fucking heavy, But then I watch the show, I was like,
Now you'll watch it and be like, damn, these graphics are trash.
Excuse me. Well, not if I play the remastered version, or the remake. Well, the remake, Tony.
That'd be fucking hater.
Well, here's another question though. I mean, in the game, isn't Sarah younger than she is in the show?
A little bit.
This was like a teenager.
A little bit.
Not too much.
She's getting there. She's like a tween,
But she still did the same thing with fixing the watch and stuff. So
yeah.
She's not too young that she can't go out into the world by herself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the early 2000s, and she's going by herself. That's kind of dangerous. But
no.
I will like to mention something. Just a random fun fact. Did you guys know that we're closer related to fungus than fungus are to plants?
Well, there's fungus among us, so
we are, Carlos. I didn't know this.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting fact, and this whole thing,
a history lesson as well on tonight's episode.
We cover all bases.
Oh man!
Rich froze.
Okay, that's on my what's going on. I guess we could talk about the main stuff, the stuff that takes place. I guess now it takes place now, not the future.
Yeah, 2023.
And Adam, I want to get your take, because you're talking about being a parent and shit. What'd you feel about that scene where Joel has to toss the fucking kid into the fire?
Yeah, well, when I saw that, I was like, I don't remember this in the game.
That didn't happen.
Exactly. I was like,
Joel was a fucking weapons smuggler in the game.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't remember this scene. And then with the woman saying, "Oh, there's a kid," and I get why they're doing it. They're just trying to show that now he's numb to the whole thing, because of what happened. I get that, but that was an impactful scene, and I did see this because there's some news outlets that I follow just cover TV show, and they were covering this one, and they were harping on this because not that they were upset by it, but they were thinking, when was the last time we saw something like this on a TV show? Where a kid is dying, whether it's already a kid dead or a kid turned into a zombie and then gets killed. But this is a dead child, and he was tossing it into a fire pit.
Yeah, it was a really good scene because like they go to test her, and they don't explain to you how the machine works, but you know it. When you see red, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That was a very well done scene. And then but it still shows you. And this was good too, because one of my problems with the game, even the games, I'm like, it's so fucking bleak. But at least they're like, oh, you know what? They find a kid. They at least try to make her go out in comfort,
Mm-hmm.
So that was good.
Mm-hmm.
The woman was telling us like, oh, you're gonna be fine. We're gonna get you some toys. We got you some food.
Yeah, all the toys you want. We got all of this stuff.
Like,
and that's
we
what I was
give you this injection real quick. That injection.
And that's still at that point. I was like, is this when she bites the woman in the face? I want some. I'm like, this is not Ellie. I can't believe this.
That wasn't Ellie though.
No,
that wasn't Ellie. That was some. Who was that then?
That was the girl that they tossed in the fire.
That was her.
Yeah.
See, I thought that was the zombie.
Yeah, no, the girl that came shambling in the beginning. That was just the girl that Joel eventually threw into the fire. Understand?
Oh, so it was right. It was a little zombie chick.
Yeah, it was a little zombie girl. Yeah.
But she never turned into a zombie. She
never
did.
Yeah, she was infected.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I was.
Yeah, she came in, and the guards like, hey, we're gonna take care of you. We got everything. They inject her, and then they had a bag over her face, and then Joel tossed her in the fire. So yeah.
Okay. But what was the name that she gave? Ellie gave a different name. What was that?
Yeah,
name?
she gave a different name. But when we meet Ellie, she's in chains and shit.
Yeah, she's chained up. But she had some other name. I think
she gave a fake name.
I don't remember something like that. So
she had an alias.
But why give the fake name? I didn't understand. Because how are they going to look you up in the database? It didn't look like they have the internet or anything. So what does it matter if she gives her real name or not?
I don't think she's thinking about that, man.
I guess.
I guess if somebody captures you, never give me your real name.
Escobar for life. That's what I tell people.
But, I'm like, I'm Pablo. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Who's this Tony?
Pablo with a capital Q. Listen, Rich, you're back. Are you back?
Yeah, sorry about that. These creatures from The Last of Us seem to be taking over my Wi-Fi.
I was about to say, yeah, man.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Zombies in there,
There hasn't been any issues until now, but hopefully that's it. No, so what else were you guys talking about in terms of?
Yeah, we was talking about that little girl, like how they handle that. Like that scene was well done because, like, remember, they don't show you how the machine works, but when you see that shit turn red, you're like, oh fuck, she's infected, and then they like humanely put her out of her misery. It wasn't brutal. That was really well done. And then we talked about how like Pedro Pascal, he's already numb to this shit. He just tossed her in the fire after his colleague wasn't able to,
Yeah. You see, and the thing is, I do agree. All of that stuff was well done. I think the problem is that all of us have played the game, so we know where the story is going. I'm trying to anticipate how they're going to change some of this stuff, but I don't really know yet. But it's just because I know so much is going to happen. It's like I'm like, I don't know, but I guess I do want to see kind of how they handle certain things. I know I will tell this to the people who haven't played the game. I will recommend that you not get attached to some characters because some people may not make it to the end of this show. I'm just saying.
I'm expecting at least one full episode of that DLC with Riley. I'm sure that's just going to be one full episode.
We already saw a sneak peek of that. I agree with that. By the way, I'll just jump in and say this right now, right? Because the showrunner said there's going to be some major differences. We saw minor differences here. Like, for example, Joel was like just a kind of regular worker in the game. He's a weapon smuggler and shit.
Tommy is Hispanic.
Yeah. but the thing is, we're naturally okay. And this is just me kind of guessing, right? But you already said that this first season is going to be the first game, right? So I'm going to assume that season 2 will be the second game, right? If that happens, by the time we get to season 3, it's going to be a completely different story because the third game ain't coming out for who knows how long, right? And this show will keep going and going. But obviously then we have the problem, right? Like Game of Thrones, we ran out of source material. What the fuck is going to happen now?
I'm sure they signed off on it. It's like, hey, we have to have some rights, some creative privileges. Don't get too pissed. And
no, but my point is, by the time we get to season 3, then we will actually see a brand new thing because we don't have a third game.
Now, and we'll have those updates with Neil Druckmann's.
Maybe in the third season they'll bring in the multiplayer finally.
Or what if season 3 comes out before game 3 and they're two different things? The story for the show is written by the showrunners and stuff.
No, I'm saying season 3 will be complete. Like season 3 is going to come out before the third game, and it's going to be completely different.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and then we play the third game, and it's like, all right, it's nothing like the show.
So it's going to be like Game of Thrones the books and Game of Thrones the show. At one point, they're like, okay, what the fuck is going on? They're two different stories now.
So there are two quick comments I want to make, and then I'm going to go to Carlos. I think Carlos was going to make a comment too. First and foremost, that third game, I think we all know that game is probably in development right now. I would be surprised if Naughty Dog doesn't announce this by the end of the year. Maybe they can have this whole thing whereas they start out the year with the TV show, and then at the end of the year they tell her, "Oh yes, by the way, we're working on part 3."
Rich, would you say that this would be announced at a certain game show?
You mean E3 or you mean
no, at the end of the year?
Oh, the Game Awards. Oh yes, that makes a lot of sense.
When they announce season 2 of the show,
It's the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
that Kojima always shows up
But
to.
Jeff
see,
Keighley's going to announce that he's going to be fake holding back his tears.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
this is
Yes.
yeah, this is gonna be one of
an
them.
announcement I've been
But-
waiting for.
I can't wait. Get ready. My
my
Canadian tears
God.
are flowing.
Oh yeah, no, that's going to happen. But I will say this though, Adam, I'm pretty sure that is going to get greenlit immediately. If they're giving Velma a second season already,
Yeah.
But
we'll probably get an announcement that it's coming.
I think well, this one definitely costs more production wise than that other than Velma.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely, if the numbers at least halfway through are still up there, of course, the first episode is going to pull in everybody. But if it stays steady and people stick around for it, yeah, why not? I could definitely see it.
Yo.
And then when the 2 comes out, that's when they all rage quit, and then it becomes a big problem. And then HBO says, you know, we can't do this anymore. You said you had a good game. It's like we thought we did.
Here's an interesting thing. I thought and it's good that you guys mentioned that this season 1 is going to be just the first game, the entirety of the first game. If it was up to me, I would have made it just the first half of the game. And Tony's going to tell me, nah, you just want to stretch it out more.
Yeah, you do. You know.
So Carlos, you're thinking of the
Carlos
old
wants
way of
the
TV.
first game to be 3 seasons.
No, but
you know?
remember, back in the day, TV shows were 24 episodes, 16 episodes. And then now we seem to drop from 10 to 8. Some of them do 6. If you're a BBC, 3.
Yeah.
So it keeps shrinking.
Ideally for me, this would be first game would be a 2-season show. And one of the main reasons, there's two reasons. One, I feel like there's a lot of story because I know the DLC is included into this, so that's a little bit more to add to, and there's stuff that you can expand on. There's some storylines that I felt like could be they're going to be on the show. There's the 2 brothers, or were they a father and a son?
Father and son.
The father and the son at the hospital.
They're in there. No, they're not them. The people in the
black dudes.
The black dudes in the.
The father's.
That's in there. They showed that scene. That's coming.
Okay.
Like that's like those scenes I feel like could be expanded on. But here's my ideal thing. And I won't give spoilers for future scenes on the game, but I will mention this: where I felt like this season would be a good place to end would be, and I'll just mention the truck part. I don't know if it clicks with you guys, the truck part, and then the second season will be the second half of that, because there's something, and I do want to mention this. There is something that happens relatively at the beginning of the second game, and you guys know what I'm talking about. The biggest thing that happened in the whole freaking game happened in the first couple of scenes, and having that at the beginning of season 2 for me would be kind of bad.
I guess maybe, you answered the question that I had. I was going to ask if there was a certain scene. You don't have to go too in depth, but is there a certain scene from the game that you're looking forward to see how they introduce in the show? And I guess that's your answer right there. That truck scene. I think I know that's probably the same one. Is that from a hospital? A certain scene in the hospital?
No. That's no. This is way earlier than that.
They even showed that as a part of the sneak preview. It's
that too?
Yeah. Yo, it's funny. The sneak preview, I'm pretty sure you guys saw it too, right? It's like literally, it just seemed like highlights of the game.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. But yeah, the last scene they showed in the preview was Joel in the hospital. I'm like, oh shit, we're going there this season. The thing I'm curious about, Adam, now that you're asking what scene do we want to see, I want to see how do they portray those big motherfuckers without it seeming comical.
Yes, I was thinking the exact same thing. The one at the school, right? The one at the school gym.
Yep. And the reason I say this is because when I played the game, when that happened, I was just like, this is gonna sound really stupid, but I think you guys understand me. When that scene happened, it made me very aware that I was playing a video game.
Yep.
Because before that, it was like you're playing a movie. Like it was very serious and dark and heavy and shit. And then this obvious video game thing comes out at you and starts throwing the fucking fungus at you. Like, I just got hit by this thing. Shouldn't I be infected right now?
Yeah, so maybe there you go. I could see that not fitting in this one. But also what I'm thinking is, remember in the game, another impactful scene is when Joel would kill the bad guy humans, and they're like, "Don't do this, man! Don't! Come on, you don't." They do that little like last.
Well, he did it in the first episode. I mean, we saw that with the bodyguard.
But he deserved it. That mofo. I mean, when you're playing the game and you're sneaking up behind people and just taking them out, you're just doing it because you just have to. But I just wonder if they're going to have a lot of that included.
I just want to add to what you said, Adam. I do want to see more of that. I also want to see how they are going to get to a point of telling you, oh, maybe Joel, maybe he's not such a good guy, because that was the whole point of the second game, which is, I'm not going to spoil, but
that's heavy spoiler.
They want you to believe this guy is, and obviously I want to see how that's handled. But I do want to add a quick point in terms of what I want to see how they handle on the show. I think you all made excellent points. I also would like to see how they handle the introduction of David and his role within this show and everything that happened in the game, how they handle that in this show, because some of that stuff is dark as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward
to
seeing
HBO.
That.
They got to go with the dark. If they didn't, they could have put that on AMC or something else. But I'm expecting full dark, full with the context, with the language, with the gore. I want to see all of it, and I think they did the hints like what we were talking about with the little girl with Joel just dumping her into the fire pit. So they just that's another little sign to the viewer, like, get ready. You're gonna see some stuff that you usually don't see in the show. This isn't your traditional.
By the way, real quick, because Adam, I don't disagree with you about the way Ellie looks, right? Because she does look weird, but I gotta say, that's fucking Ellie, man. Like in behavior and shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yo, she's.
Well, that's probably why she got the role. That's probably why. It was like,
I'm like, yo, she's straight. Yeah, she's straight out of the video game.
Yeah, if you close your eyes, it sounds like Ellie. It's just when I see it, I go, oh.
I remember this how long Throwdown's been on. We did a spoiler cast for the Last of Us, like the original game, and I think it was Brett that said that Ellie talks like a teenager that just learned how to curse, and they're just cursing all the time. I'm like, hey, this actress is doing the same thing. It's great, So yeah, she does look weird. The thing is, she looked weird in Game of Thrones. So I was already used to that, She was the little girl, the little Mormon girl. People don't know. Like all the men died in the house, so it's like, okay, she's the only one left, So I already knew she was going to be a good actress. Like she was like 5 or 6 doing that shit. She was excellent, So I knew she was going to kill it. So she's doing a great job. But yeah, again, the cast, Anna Torv, I'm so happy to see her, man. I love Fringe, and Heavenly Sword, she was the actress in that as well. So it's good. But apparently I did learn that I think she did want to play Tess originally, but she got shot down for Annie Worthing, I believe her name is. But yeah, man, yeah. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep watching this show. But I'm going to assume it's in the wink, wink, happy place, if I do change my mind. But yeah, we'll see. I'm curious to see what other changes they're going to bring. But I do want to see how they bring specific scenes to life. Because I got to say, those clickers, they didn't have them in this episode. Yo, they look fucking dope.
Yeah, with the stuff all over their eyes.
Yeah, they look fucking dope.
And he picks up a shiv because it was like you see him pick up like
that's it. You got to like in the game,
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way to do it. So
yeah,
I agree. Well, were there any other things that y'all want to say about the show before we get ready to wrap up this discussion?
No, good show. I'm not going to say it's the greatest video game adaptation of all time, but then again, you could probably say that legitimately because if they've mostly been trash,
the Tomb Raider ones, the first ones, the ones with
Angelina Jolie,
those are all right.
They were pretty. Mortal Kombat was really good, but no, this show's legit. I'm glad they did it justice. I'll say that. It's not. They're not playing it for jokes or something. It's good,
Well, yeah. There will be some jokes because we saw some jokes in that trailer. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're treating it they're treating the source material with respect. You know,
yes,
it's not just like,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
As long as they don't do anything cheesy, like they walk through a room and they see a PlayStation. It's like, oh, I want to play with them. We don't got time for games.
What about the PS? What about the PS Vita?
No, I don't.
What about the Vita girl? Vita girl, you gotta have the Vita girl.
You're going to definitely. And listen, you will definitely see some of that product placement in there.
Maybe not for the Vita because Sony don't sell those anymore.
It'll probably be a PSP.
Well, it's in the future in the original one.
There you go. Throw a Steam Deck. Yeah. All their games are on there anyway. So
yeah. So by the way, real quick, can you guys see this? Let me see. Wait, you can.
Looks good.
Yeah, we see it.
The Last of Us.
Awesome. Firefly
and shit. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Yo, I like the scene. Oh, sorry, just real quick. I like the scene where Joel is like in the courtyard with all the people, and I guess it's a Firefly recruit comes up to him. He's like, "You try to recruit me? I'll break your jaw."
Yeah, it was like a religious. I thought it was a religious guy. He was trying to say something about.
Nah, it was a Firefly.
It was a Firefly.
Yeah. Although, Adam, hold on. Oh, remember the religion in the second?
Yeah. That's what I thought because he was like,
it could be because I heard one of the showrunners say we may bring some of this stuff from the second game into the first season. So I think that'll be good, setting up that religion right now.
The beauty of the show and also the game was the expected unexpected because it's a road trip. It's a road trip, and they were coming across all kinds of things, sort of like the Wizard of Oz. You come across different people and different. And I'm looking forward to see how they portray that. And if they sprinkle some stuff that makes sense from 2 into this one, then so it could be fun.
So, final question. If you were to rate this episode 1 to 10, with 10 being amazing, fantastic, what would you rate this first episode?
I think I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, 8. It seems like a pretty decent.
8.5. I'm feeling generous.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It would have to be a perfect show, and I don't think there's any such thing as something that's pure perfect. There's always, especially when it's
if it ended on Saturday,
15 out of 10.
That's it. No, but they did it. It's all right. It's good. It's definitely worth watching. It's not like now we got to see what they did with this. No, it was good. It was a good episode.
Yeah,
I think 8 is also a fair score. It's definitely better than the Walking Dead finale. So that's I have to make that comment. I know we're not supposed to make comparisons, but I have to say, this is So we'll see where it goes.
Plenty of people already doing it. So
yeah, absolutely. So with that said, thank you all for joining us for our review discussion for The Last of Us episode 1. How about you guys give any shout outs that you would like to give? We'll go with you first, Mr. Tony Polanco.
All right. Obviously, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's been watching the show. Good time with the fellas. And also, you can catch me, Adam, and Carlos over on Throwdown. We go live every Thursday and Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. Thursday is when we do the general gaming news show, and Sunday is the question show. And the previous 2 episodes have had some talk about The Last of Us, so you should definitely go check us out if you want to hear a little more. But yeah, check out Throwdown, man. Every podcast app on the planet, man. If you can listen to us anywhere, you can find us and all that. So yeah, Throwdown for life, son.
Absolutely. How about you, Carlos? Any shout outs that you would like to give?
Want to give a shout out to Tony for joining us. Just echoing what Tony said, Throwdown show. We're there. I Am Negan is on hiatus until The Walking Dead decide to, and Scott Gimple and AMC decide to release something.
April, right? I think that's it. April for Dead City. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
April.
That's when you guys can find us for I Am Negan. And but yeah, other than that, you guys can catch us the next week for the following episode 2 of The Last of Us. And yeah, shout out to everyone.
Absolutely. How about you, Mr. Adam Vale?
Yeah. And sort of the same thing. Throwdown, we have that twice a week, and then the I Am Negan that's on iTunes, Spotify, and all that jazz. Of course, the Koalition, mothership right there. But also, we just did a discussion just because of that, a lot of people don't know all these shows that
Exactly.
are coming, these spinoffs. So if you're not sure, check that episode out. We give a rundown of all the upcoming spinoffs that are happening, who's going to be in them from what they've released so far. And of course, Fear the Walking Dead coming to an end in this season, 2-parter. So yeah, check that out. And of course, the Koalition got a lot of stuff going on. And then the new channel, the Koalition Gaming on YouTube. So there we go. We got to fill it up. So thanks again, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you all. And yes, I definitely want to give a thank you to Mr. Tony Polanco, Adam Vale, and Carlos Romero for joining me tonight in this impromptu discussion. We definitely will be talking about more of these episodes moving forward, but stay tuned to the Koalition Gaming channel. There's a lot of surprises, a lot of things that are in the works. So definitely stay tuned. Feel free to leave your comments. Let us know what you think of our review as well as your thoughts on the show. And we'll talk to you all next time.
Peace.
Peace out, people.
Mm-hmm.